everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to So What with Sulky. Today is an exciting day because it is the day of our first ever live videocast. If you follow us on Facebook, you're probably well aware that we are doing a videocast with the folks at Sallie Tomato today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So just in a couple short hours, we will get the cameras rolling and start that video cast. So if you have not registered yet, there is still plenty of time. I put the registration link in the comments in the description of today's post, so you can easily navigate, head on over to that videocast product page and fill out your information, and then you can join us at 2 p.m. So I know I've been talking a lot about this the past couple of weeks, and that is because the Sulky team has worked really, really hard to bring you a brand new education experience. Now, for those of you familiar with our free webinars, we are still doing our free webinars. We will still be joining you every Tuesday for So What here on Facebook. This video cast, however, is a little bit different. So every time that we do a live webinar, we get tons of comments afterwards, as you can imagine. And a lot of you are saying, we want video instruction in these webinars. It'll be easier to follow if we can see it on video. We want to see you sewing. So we have prepared a brand new education platform that supports all of the video instruction that you are all asking for. Also, once you go through the registration on our new education platform, you create an account. So I know it's another login that you need to write down in your password book, but it's totally worth it because once you interact with a webinar or a video cast or one of our other education opportunities, everything goes into your library through that platform. Okay, so you can log in the future and access all of that information. You can watch the videos however many times you want. You can grab the freebies for that webinar, the patterns, the embroidery designs, whatever products go along with that webinar that are offered for free or for sale are easily linked in one spot. So it's kind of like your one-stop shop for everything that is related to Sulky education. It's pretty cool. So I hope that you head on over and at least check out the link for the video cast, and you can get a glimpse into that new platform. All right, so I'm gonna go over a little bit of the pattern that we will be working through during the video cast. And I also linked to the awesome Clara Bag kits that we are offering during the video cast today, because whether you sign up for the video cast or not, you can get yourself a kit, okay? And you can take advantage of the sale price. So, you're definitely going to want the video cast, because not only am I going to take you through all the embroidery steps that you need to embroider faux leather like a pro. You're going to have this fabulous boutique bag that looks super expensive, right? This looks like a $300, $500 bag, and you're going to make it yourself, and you're going to personalize it however you want. So I will be walking through all the embroidery techniques for some different kinds of embroidery you can do on your bag. And then Jessica Barrera from Sallie Tomato, she's the founder of Sallie Tomato, and she develops all the patterns, okay? She will be joining us to walk you through the construction steps and to answer any of your questions live, okay? So this is a live streaming event, much like what I'm doing here on Facebook Live, except you're going to see the machine in action. You're going to see me walk through all the techniques. I have cameras all around my studio, so you'll get a really great look into what we are talking about and everything that we're doing. All right, I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in, and keep them coming because I have a great giveaway today. I'm going to be talking about this Clara bag as well as some other Sallie Tomato bags that we have available at sulky.com. One of those bags is this really awesome Scarlet Hobo bag. Now, Jessica from Sallie Tomato created this bag exclusively for Sulky. So this is the only place you can get this bag. And we have a full kit for this bag in 2 different colors. You can choose the charcoal, the dark gray color. Let me grab it here. Or the cardinal color that you see in that picture. So this is the charcoal version. And you can see it has great designer details. Sallie Tomato, what I really love about their patterns is they're very smartly constructed. There's nothing overly complicated about them, even though they look really high end. So I love that about it. Little designer details like tassels, strap connectors, really smartly positioned zippers and things like that that really elevate your bag and make it, I mean, people would just be in awe that you made this yourself. It also features this great embroidery on it as well. Now, you could see in the picture of this red bag, there is no embroidery on the flap. You can do embroidery on it or you can leave it. I just think if you find a perfect built-in design in your machine or a design that you've had in your library on your computer and it fits that flap perfectly, it's a great opportunity to add just a little bit more bling, a little personality. You can put a little monogram or letter on here, and it just really makes the bag your own. So we resurrected this kit from a past webinar that we did with Sallie Tomato, and the kit was so popular, it sold out quicker than anyone would have realized. I mean, the day of the webinar, we were suddenly out of kits. It was nuts. So we went ahead and ordered some more. So those of you who were not able to get it the first time around can now get it at a great price. So it comes with this cork fabric. If you have not worked with cork fabric in the past, you will absolutely love it. It gives you this leather-like feel, but it's very easy to sew, right? It sews like butter. It gives a nice structure to the bag. This bag will stand up on its own. And it just has a really cool look to it. It's just a really interesting textile. So this is made out of cork. You can also make it out of faux leather, which is what we're going to talk about in the Videocast today. So any sturdier fabric will do. Faux leather, cork. You can make this out of canvas. You could even make it out of a cotton fabric and just add extra interfacing to it to give you that sort of structure. So lots of possibilities with this bag. And it's like a shoulder length strap. You could definitely elongate the strap if you wanted it more crossbody style. So lots of opportunities to make this your own. So that's that's the Scarlet bag. And Sallie Tomato, they name their patterns after great heroines of classic movies. So I also love that about them. They're just, love them. So that's why it's Scarlet. This is the Scarlett O'Hara bag. All right, so that's going to be my giveaway today, is the Scarlet bag pattern by Sallie Tomato for Sulky. So whoever comments, likes, shares, interacts with the post today, you will be eligible to receive that Scarlet pattern for free. So always check your direct messages after we do the Facebook Live. I pick a winner about 24 hours after the live to give those people a chance to watch it that maybe couldn't join us live. So that's how I will contact you, is through direct message on Facebook. So, and I've gotten to know quite a bit of you. I love telling somebody that they won something. It is one of my favorite things. All right. So here's another photo of that cardinal bag, the red version, and that one's got the embroidery on the flap as well. And it's embroidered in the Sulky Poly Star. If you are a frequenter of our So What series here on Facebook, you have heard me talk about Poly Star a lot lately. It is because I am in love with it. It is a very easy polyester / metallic thread. It has metallic flecks running through it, making it a very, very easy to sew metallic thread. And it's great for embroideries like line art embroideries, quilting motifs, monograms. It wouldn't work so great for a super heavy, dense stitch count design just because it's a 30 weight thread, and typically those designs are digitized for 40 weight thread, so a little bit thinner thread. But it works so great with a line art design like this. So, and then here is what those kits, here's the embroidery process, just a little bit of an overview. Now, for embroidering cork or any fabric that you can't get into the hoop or wouldn't want to get into the hoop, you'll want to use the Sulky Sticky Plus stabilizer. This is a tearaway adhesive backed stabilizer, and you hoop the stabilizer only with the paper side facing up. Then you score the paper inside that inner hoop ring. You can use my favorite little nifty slitting pen to score it. It has a really sharp tip on it, but it's not sharp enough that it will go through that paper and through the stabilizer. So it's a really great little tool to have to slice through just the paper backing of the stabilizer. Then you'll peel that away to reveal that sticky adhesive, and then you place your cork right on top of it in the hoop and embroider the design. So that is essentially the technique for embroidery on cork. There is a little bit more to it than that, and you can always head on over to the Sulky blog and just search cork, and you will find a few tutorials on how to work with it, how to sew with it properly, how to make sure that you don't have excess needle holes or perforations in your seams. You want to have a little bit longer stitch length to avoid perforating your seam, because that cork, while it does have a nice backing on it, it's even stamped Sallie Tomato if you get it from Sallie Tomato. It's still a delicate fabric, so you want to make sure to elongate your stitch, use a sharp top stitch needle, or even a microtex needle when you are sewing with it. All right, and then here I have the flap cut out and ready to put onto the bag. Now, when you are embroidering something on cork or faux leather or an expensive sort of fabric, you want to make sure to give yourself room to groove when you are doing the embroidery. So I highly suggest you don't cut the pattern piece out until after the embroidery is complete. That way, if your design is a little bit off kilter or slightly diagonal or something like this, you can always adjust it by moving your pattern piece and cutting it out so that it looks straight, okay? There's really no grain to these fabrics, so altering your pattern piece slightly is not going to affect the drape or the look of that fabric when you are constructing it. All right, so this is everything that you get in that kit. Not only do you get the pattern and the fabric that you need, you get fusible fleece, you get Sulky stabilizer that you're going to need for additional interfacing, as well as the embroidery. You get all that hardware. You get a polyester polydeco thread for constructing the bag, as well as a spool of that polystar, so you can really have fun with the top stitching and the embroidery. And then also a pack of organ needles. So I always suggest you start off a new project with a brand new needle, and that just eliminates a lot of potential problems that you might have when you're walking through a project. Sometimes you'll start a project and all of a sudden you're wondering, why is there a bird's nest of thread underneath my fabric? Or why is my thread skipping stitches? Or why is there thread breakage? A lot of times, all of these things can be solved with a brand new needle. So you want to make sure that you are changing your needles frequently. I talked about this last week. If you can't remember the last time you changed your needle, time to change your needle. And if you're starting a new project like this, you want to make sure to start with a new needle, okay? This is really nice, expensive fabric, and you want to make sure that you don't have any problems at the start. And then here's a close-up of that charcoal bag. I really love that gray color and the embroidery. I really wanted you to see that little bit of sparkle that is in the polystar. It just looks so nice. And that tone-on-tone look with the gray thread and the gray cork fabric. I just love that look. It's subtle, but still sparkly, you know? And then here is that charcoal bag all done up and, excuse me, and the charcoal, oops, I'm getting ahead of myself. I thought I had a picture of the charcoal kit, but I'm not finding it. But anyways, looks exactly like the cardinal kit here, just in that charcoal gray color. All right, and like I mentioned, we were out of that charcoal gray for so long, so grab that up while you can. Another thing that I made with this cardinal red charcoal, I thought it was appropriate to do a show and tell of it today, even though I've talked about it before, because tomorrow is Veterans Day, right? So we will be honoring our veterans by wearing our poppies. Give me a thumbs up or a heart or something if you practice this. My mom taught me from an early age that we wear our poppies. My grandfather always did on Veterans Day. And what better way to show off your poppies than by embroidering it on a bag or a jacket or a shirt. And so I'm resurrecting this zippered clutch bag. It fits in not only with the poppies for Veterans Day, but it fits in also with our cork fabric bag, the scarlet bag. So I made a little tassel in the same exact way that it is made for that bag and just attached it to the zipper pull. And then look how nice the embroidery looks on the cork. Just when you think you can't embroider something, there is always a way. There's always a way to figure it out. So this is from our Pollen collection, which is available in a slim line. So you get 6 really pretty large scale floral designs, the poppy being one of them. And you get tons of rayon thread as well as some of the Sulky filaine thread. That is all included in that Pollen slimline collection. And you can see in the center or pollen of the design, all of those white threads are done in the filaine so that you can then brush it out and they get a little bit fuzzy and give it some really cool dimension. So I thought I would show this off today. It's a really easy zipper pouch that we have on the Sulky blog. It's fully lined, has a nice zipper opening. You can see I have no raw edge seams in there. And these sew up really quickly for holiday gift giving. So this is a great little project that is super simple to make, but you choose a little bit fancier fabric and all of a sudden it looks like this designer thing that you would pay $50 for. So that's what I'm talking about for Christmas gifts, you know? You could certainly make one of these out of a cotton fabric, but look how this cork fabric just elevates it. So great gift idea for the holidays. All right, so some more bags that I wanted to show you. Another one of my favorite Sallie Tomato bags is the Holly bag. Now, I like a big bag, okay? I am a mom. I inevitably get a sock and a headband and a water bottle and, you know, crayons and random snack bags and things in my purse. So I have to have kind of a larger scale purse. And I have made this one in a couple of different ways. And I'm already plotting my third make of this pattern because I love it so much. This is shown in a cork fabric. Again, the cork is the base as well as the handle and the sides. Then you get to have fun with your main fabric. Excuse me. It also lends itself really well to embroidery, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So this is the Sallie Tomato version. It has this really beautiful olive green cork fabric. You can see it has purse feet on it, which again is just one of these things that elevates the bag. Super simple add-on to add to your makes is hardware, and it's relatively inexpensive and just a designer touch that you can add to something handmade that just kicks it up a notch. And here is the bag I did using the Sallie Tomato faux leather, which is what we're going to use in the Videocast today. You don't need very much of it because you're using it for this adjustable strap, as well as that bottom accent piece and a little bit on the sides. So the faux leather gives it a little less structure. It'll still stand up on its own because those purse feet and the base is giving it a nice, something to stand on. The cork is definitely tougher, right? It's definitely stiffer. The faux leather is really luscious and buttery. So that's really the difference there. But I love that Sallie Tomato gives you all these options to make a bag that is suited to your tastes, right? So this one has this adjustable slider. So you can have a shoulder bag, you can have a crossbody bag, you can make it super long or way short. And you can change that up based on where you're going, what you're doing, what you need. I love that. This one, I just added a little embroidered tag to that snaps on and off. So you can, put this on your luggage, you can put it on your bag, just gives it a little personality. But I also thought the center of this bag was the perfect canvas for machine embroidery. Excuse me. I'm talking so much. I need a refreshment. All right. So the machine embroidery really got me thinking, what kind of a design can we put in the center of this? So I did another version of this bag because if you can't tell, I'm obsessed with bags. Can we ever have enough bags? I mean, I don't think so. So I made this one with the Poly Star. Again, I've shown this off here before, but I just wanted to resurrect it for those of you who haven't seen it yet. And I did it on this metallic flecked cork. So we have metallic flecked thread, metallic flecked cork, and then we have the nickel hardware. So again, a subtle bit of bling. It's not garish, but it's so pretty. I absolutely love it. And this one has, you can see, more structure than that faux leather version. So it's really kind of up to you how stiff or whatever you want your bag. But again, you can always add additional interfacing if you wanted to use a cotton fabric or something that is less stiff. I also like the little finishing touches that just, right? Little accents of cork here and there to tie the whole bag together. Just Sallie Tomato bags are just so smart. So this just backs our magnetic snap closure. And then there's a really neatly crafted zipper inside, and as well as a few pockets in this one too. And I kind of got addicted to making tassels when I was introduced to Sallie Tomato patterns in our hobo bag scarlet pattern webinar. So had to add another little tassel to this one. But it just really brings it all together. So this is the Holly bag pattern, and it is at sulky.com along with the scarlet bag pattern, along with our Clara Bag kits. So as I was mentioning, let me just make sure I went through everything. Okay. As I was mentioning faux leather. Now, anytime a bag calls for cork, you can substitute faux leather and vice versa. So for our Clara Bag, we have this beautiful faux leather. And talk about hardware. Now, I don't know if you all have ever inserted a purse frame like this with the clasp. It can be a little intimidating. I must admit, I went through all of this embroidery. I added all the strapping. I did, the beautiful zipper in the front, our magnetic snap, so much going on. And your last step is to insert the clasp, okay? I was terrified. I was going to mess up. I even emailed Jess at Sallie Tomato and I was like, I can do this, right? And she was like, you can do this. You can do this. So I became an expert at it. And that is why I am going to show you, if I can do it, you can do it. So we're going to learn how this all goes in, tips for calming ourselves down, believing we can do it, and we can do it. So this looks really complicated and really advanced, and actually it comes together so quickly, so intuitively, and you can't mess this one up, okay? Now, we will be learning some advanced machine embroidery techniques for embroidering super dense designs on a really nice, supple faux leather. So I came up with a very, I keep calling it revolutionary, but the technique I've discovered in making this embroidery happen is it's new. I've never seen it before. I can't wait to share it with you. You can apply it to a number of other projects. I think you'll be amazed. I think you will want to learn it and you will want to apply it to your other sewing. So definitely register for the webinar, the Videocast. Again, 2:00 today. There's still time to join. Click the link in the description of today's post. If you are not into that mustard color, which, oh my gosh, I love it. It's perfect for fall. It's actually more muted than it kind of looks all lit up on camera. But here's the black version. Now the black version comes with gold hardware and it looks so, so pretty with the gold embroidery thread. Now there's lots of options here. You can do your little handle out of scraps of faux leather. You can do your little handle out of the coordinating fabric, like I showed with this bag. And just add a pop of a print is really cute. So different options there for what you want to do. But again, Sallie Tomato, so smart. All of these strap options, you can mix and match based on where you're going, what you're doing. Okay, so you can take this strap entirely off and carry it like a clutch. Okay, love that. So a little bit of an evening bag, right? Then you could put your strap back on, these little clips. Love this. You can carry it as a shoulder bag, as a crossbody bag. The entire strap is adjustable along the strap length. Do you see all these little holes? We're going to learn how to make those. And this is a little stud screw, I believe it's called. You basically move it along the strap if you want a shorter or longer strap. Love it. And it's so easy. And just like I said, adding these little touches just not only gives you this super functional bag that is good for so many different occasions, but it also allows you to personalize it based on how you like to wear your bag. Okay? Just love that. All right, so I've got a lot of questions coming in. Let's go ahead and address some of them. And if you have any questions at all about the Videocast, please put them in the comments now. We're going to do our Q&A sesh and address everyone. Eileen says, what is the name of the slimline bag you showed? Is it the pollen bag? Okay, so, this is a little zipper clutch, and we have a blog post all about it. You can go to blog.sulky.com. We will also link to that post in the comments, as well as the pollen slimline collection. Now, the slimline collection is all the thread and the embroidery designs that you need to stitch out all of the pollen designs. There's a poppy, there's a dandelion, there's a hibiscus flower, and there's 3 more that I can't think about right now. But this bag is a free tutorial on our blog, And then for these beautiful embroideries, you get those with purchase of that Slimline, the Pollen Palette Slimline thread pack. All right. And we just bundled them all together for you so that you get a little bit of a deal, because buying all those threads that you need for the entire collection can add up. And so we bundled them all together. We put the filaine in with the rayon so that you have everything you need in a nice little Slimline container. And if you are not familiar with the Sulky Slimline containers, they look like this. Okay. This is my mega embroidery Slimline, one of them. I have about 12 of these. I love to store my thread like this. You can also hang it on your wall. You can open it as well and hang both sides separately, side by side if you want, because as you can see, the handle is on both sides. And all of your thread is so nice and neat and organized. And also what I like about it is to get your thread spool out, you put your finger on this little tab and it comes out really easily this way. So I love these little Slimlines, and it's a great way, like I said, to organize your thread. And if you do a lot of embroidery, you need all these colors anyways, and you can easily see when you run out of a thread which one you need to purchase and replenish in your Slimline. So it makes reordering really easy as well. All right, that is the Slimline. Okay, Wendy says, any suggestions? I tried all the things you originally gave us for using the filaine thread. So the filaine thread is a tricky animal. It is a 12-weight acrylic thread, and it has a texture to it. So you have to take some things into account and make some adjustments on your machine in order to sew it successfully. And I went through months of testing this thread and coming up with a list of helpful hints. And I worked with some outside contributors as well to make sure that we could give you a comprehensive list for how to work with this thread, because it's so wonderful when it works out, as you can see by that pollen collection. The little fuzzies that you create, it's just, I showcased it on a really cute fur. It's like a faux fur effect on a stocking design. And it's just so fun to brush it out, and it makes really cool lion manes and cat fur and things like this. So first of all, you need to make sure you have the right needle. You can use a 116 needle for most fabrics. If you're going with a lighter weight fabric, I would use a 90-14, but you need to make sure it's like a titanium 90-14, something really, really strong, okay? You are going to be using a lot of fill stitch, a lot of heavyweight thread, most likely stabilizer and fabric if you're doing embroidery with the filaine. So a really strong needle like a titanium is going to penetrate through all those layers and give you a nice stitch out. You also have to slow your embroidery machine down to about the lowest setting it will go. And this is kind of torturous for some of us, because the great thing about machine embroidery is that you can do it so quickly, right? The machine stitches so fast and completes those designs in no time. Well, with the filaine, you're kind of like, watching it stitch, every little stitch, but it's worth it. Now, the slower it will go, the less friction you have happening with that thread, and the less likely you are to have tension buildup in your tension discs because of the weightiness of that thread. You also need to make sure that you are using a lightweight bobbin thread, like the Sulky 60-weight bobbin thread, to pair with that filaine. You cannot use something heavier than that. It is just too much for your needle to go through when working with that heavyweight thread. So you may have already tried those, Wendy, and if that is the case, reach out to us. We want to know what machine you're using. We want to know what design you're using. You have to make sure that the design you're using is digitized for 12 weight thread. If you try to use Filaine with a design that is digitized for 40 weight thread, there will be too many stitches. They will be too close together. Your needle will seize up on you, cause a bird's nest on the bottom, and problems will happen. You need long stitches, a design that has long fill stitches and barely any underlay stitching in order for the Filaine to work. Okay? All right, hopefully that helps. Linda says, where do I go to watch the videocast? I want to see if I can access it. All right, so in the description of this Facebook post today is a link to go check out that videocast. It'll take you to the page to sign up and purchase the videocast. It's $5.99 to attend, and you're getting 90 minutes of basically a class, okay? And, you know, from what I have seen out there in the universe for online classes, this price can't be beat. You know, with a lot of people shifting to online education because of COVID and everything that has happened, it's just, you know, I don't know how to describe it other than you're getting a great deal. Plus, with your $5.99 purchase, you will get a free gift. Sulky is going to give you an entire alphabet collection in 3 sizes. It's over 100 designs when you think about it. You're getting 3-inch, 4-inch, and 5-inch, big 5-inch letters of this pretty scroll alphabet design. And I stitched it out on one of the Clara bags here to show you. And you can see how big that letter design is. And it's really pretty to personalize your bag. It's also a great scripty font for all of the Christmas personalization that you're probably doing for the holidays and other holiday things. If you're going to make Thanksgiving place cards, it would be really pretty to have a little monogram using this scroll alphabet collection. So you'll be able to use that collection for so many things. And I love a font collection that comes in these big, big letters. So you'll be getting that for free when you purchase the videocast. So there's great value in that. That font collection retails for $19.99. So you're really coming out ahead when you go ahead and purchase that videocast. All right, Steve is looking forward to it. Me too. I'm getting a little nervous because we're going to go live in about an hour and a half here. So I'll see you then, Steve. Sheila says, does leather or cork wear out a needle faster than cotton? That's a really good question. I wouldn't think so. If you're using the right needle for the leather and the cork, meaning it is a sharp needle that does not have a ball point to it at all. Even a machine embroidery needle has a slight ball point to it. So for faux leather, I like to use a top stitch needle. You can certainly also use a leather needle, but I find with embroidery designs, a top stitch needle works better than a leather needle. And I'll be talking about that in the video cast today. So if you're using the correct needle, I don't think it should wear out any faster than any other fabric and needle combination that you're using. However, I still highly recommend start off a new project with a new needle. Sometimes there can be microscopic problems with your needle you can't see with your naked eye. It could be very slightly bent. Maybe your needle was not up all the way when you went to remove your fabric or quilt or whatever was underneath it, and it slightly dragged across it, and now you've got the most microscopic little bend in your needle, and you go to do embroidery or top stitching later on, and it's like, what is happening? Why is this going on? It's almost always the needle's fault. Sometimes there can be a slight little burr on your needle from either overuse, or maybe it hit the feed dogs, something like that. If you're doing free motion and you moved it too fast and your needle was still in the fabric, those kinds of things can really affect your future projects. So I really, really highly suggest you just swap out those needles probably more frequently than you think you actually should. All right. Jennifer says, the cutting pen, what is it called and does it come from Sulky? Yes, it is at sulky.com. It is called the Sticky Plus Slitting Pen. I have to really enunciate when I say slitting pen. The reason it is called that is because this little tip it slits right through that paper backing on the Sticky Plus. So if I could find my little sample here, excuse me. When you are removing the paper backing to reveal the adhesive on your Sticky Plus, a lot of the times people will use a pin or blunt scissors or something like that to pierce through only that paper, because you want your sticky surface to still be there. If you slit through all the layers, you will no longer have stabilizer behind your fabric. So this slitting pen is really cool because it's specifically made for this paper backing. So you can run your pen through it. I just drew on it, with a regular hand, as if I was drawing like a pencil. And look how it tears the backing, but not the sticky. It's a great little invention. So yes, it is at sulky.com. I believe it's $6.99. And I can't believe I just now discovered this a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, send me one of those. So you all need this in your sewing rooms, especially if you love Sticky Plus like I do. All right. Candy wants to know what type of glue, and I assume you are talking about the glue that we use to attach our clasp, right? Because you do need glue for this very last step. Now, Jessica from Sallie Tomato recommends that you use a super glue or some kind of quick drying craft glue for your clasp closure. I experimented with both. I liked the super glue, but I found it was better to have a little bit thicker glue. I used this Ultimate multi-surface adhesive glue. It smells terrible, but it is quick drying, and I still left it overnight, which was really difficult to do because I just wanted to enjoy my bag, and it's the last step that you do. And we'll be talking about this more this afternoon during the video cast, but this is Aleene's fast drying, waterproof, for use on a bunch of different materials, and I found that worked good for me. She also suggests the E6000, I think it is, glue. So we'll be talking about that later today. Okay. Claudette wants to know if the Holly and Clara bag patterns are purchased separately. So yes, if you want the Clara Bag kit, you will get your Clara Bag pattern with that kit. If you want the Holly bag, it is an extra purchase. So the Holly bag is $9.99 for the pattern. Did I say kit or pattern? The Holly bag pattern, it's a paper pattern. So you'll get it with your slitting pen order. Grab up the paper pattern. What I like to do also, and I'm looking around for mine, when I have a paper pattern, especially for a bag, right, that I know I'm going to use and use and use and use and use, I transfer my pattern pieces onto Sulky Tear Easy Stabilizer, because I can see through it to make markings or to plan embroideries, things like that. And it's sturdy enough that I can fold it up and put it into my pattern envelope, and I always have my untouched original as well as the paper pattern that maybe I made adjustments, or maybe I planned for an embroidery already. So I know where the center of my embroidery needs to be on the main pattern piece, and it's already there. And I can take notes and write on the Tear Easy Stabilizer for future reference. So that is my little tip, and I will be also talking about that later today as well. Lots of tips to share for lots of bag patterns. Betsy is eager to find out the revolutionary method. I am so excited to share it with all of you. And I don't know, maybe one of you is going to say, hey, I've been doing that for years. But I will tell you, once I discovered this technique for the embroidery on faux leather, I reached out to a couple of experts in the industry who I have known for my entire sewing career. And I said, did I just invent something, or has this been around forever and I'm just now discovering it? And both people said, you're on to something. Believe in yourself. So we'll see how it goes today. All right, Amy says, purse hardware is new to me. Perfect. We're going to go through it today. You're going to see how easy it is to use these things. They are readily available at your local fabric store, at independent retailers, and online. You can find these D-rings and clips and purse feet. And like I said, they really just take your homemade creations to designer status. Jan wants to know, what is the name of the bag with the butterfly? That is the Clara Bag. That is what we will be going through at 2 p.m. today during the Videocast. And you will find the full kits for this at a screaming deal right now. Usually we don't put our webinar kits up for sale at our special Videocast or webinar deal. Sometimes you get $30 off. Sometimes you get 50% off. I mean, it's like a crazy deal on the day of the live event. Normally we don't put that up until the webinar begins, but you can grab the kit now for the sale price. And you are saving about $30 on this bag. You're getting the embroidery designs that we're featuring, and you'll get that scroll alphabet collection. If you want to personalize your bag with a monogram or a letter or something like that, you will get that with purchase of the Videocast no matter what. So whether or not you decide to buy a kit, doesn't matter. You will still get that alphabet design collection. But this beautiful butterfly is on the Clara Bag. So that's what we'll be making this afternoon. Okay. Clovis says, it looks hard to do. I think you're talking about this purse frame, this clasp. And I gotta tell you, it was intimidating. I went through Jessica's very concise instructions. I took some deep breaths, put that glue in there, and it worked. So really, 90% of this is just believing that you can do it. And the other 10% is arming yourselves with the proper tools that you need to help yourself do it properly or do it right the first time. So I'll be going over all of those tips this afternoon, but I mean, it just really adds to this bag. And this bag is really roomy. I talked about that I always need a pretty large bag because I'm a mom and I gather up all of my children's things throughout the day. There's actually a lot of room in here. And you can adjust your strap, like I said. It looks like a little clutch, but it's actually quite large. It's I believe 7.5 by 10.5 finished dimensions. So it's kind of bigger than you might think, but it still makes a really great evening bag as well for going out. It takes you from everyday to evening quite seamlessly. Okay. Yes, Patrick says very professional looking. And Sue says my favorite bag. I'm excited for us all to have these bags, and at some point when we are able to actually see each other in person at sewing shows or conventions or things of that nature, we will all be sporting the same bag and we get to see how each of us changed it up. And that's also what I like about this new education platform, is we can share with each other and post in the question and answer blocks on the product page what we did differently, what worked out for us. I might give you a really great tip and then you springboard off of that and discover that there's an even easier way of doing something. And that is why I also love these Facebook Live So What episodes, because we get to connect with each other and learn from each other and really build on our sewing education and just, you know what, have this community time together where we get to hang out. You know, it can start to feel really lonely with all this social distancing. So this is really a time where we can connect with each other as well. And, you know, when I'm down here in my basement in my studio, it really feels like I'm talking directly to you all. So I really appreciate all the comments that you're always putting in, and the questions that you're asking are just wonderful. So you're filling me up. You're filling me up. Don says, is there a good source for cork fabric for making more purses of other colors? Yes, there is. And there are different sources for the cork fabric, of course. You want to make sure that you get a good quality cork fabric that has some kind of backing on it, okay? That is going to make sure that your cork does not perforate with a lot of needle penetrations that you might do with top stitching or embroidery, okay? That backing kind of protects it and makes sure that you don't have those perforations and prevents it from kind of sloughing off over time, if that makes sense. Sometimes that cork, if it's just a coating, can start almost like peeling off. That's how you know that's not a good quality cork. And you know what? I'm sure some of you are going to ask us today in the video cast, as well as right now, how do you know if it's a good quality cork? Quite honestly, the more expensive stuff is the better quality cork. But the Sallie Tomato cork that is available at sallietomato.com, I know for a fact, is very good quality stuff. I've worked with a lot of cork. I have found cork fabrics just randomly at places like fabric.com, and I'm not really sure of the manufacturer. All the way, now that I've tried the Sallie Tomato cork and I know the process that she goes through in manufacturing it and adding that really nice backing to it, it's stamped Sallie Tomato, so you know it's high quality. That's the best cork fabric that I have used in making bags, and especially a bag that you know it's going to get a lot of use and you know you're going to be kind of hard on it, right? Our bags are always in the front seat. They fall down in the car. They're at the table at the restaurant. They're always getting rough and tumbled. So you want to make sure that you do have that good quality. And the faux leather we will be working with this afternoon is Sallie Tomato faux leather. It's relatively new on the Sallie Tomato site, but there's tons of colors. There's different finishes, so you can get kind of a pebbly faux leather or what they call a legacy faux leather. And our mustard has this kind of the pebbly look that really mimics real leather. And then our black bag is that legacy look, and it's really, really nice. And the only way I can describe it is just buttery. It feels so luxurious, but it's not leather. No one was harmed in the making of this faux leather, and it sews really, really easily. So, all important things in my opinion. Yep, Clovis says we can never have enough bags. Thank you for reinforcing my belief there. Okay. Let's see. Debbie says, I have cork from years ago and don't know if it has a backing. Can I add a backing? That's really interesting. I'm sure that you probably could. It might be easier to add a fusible interfacing. You want to be really careful when you're fusing it though, and make sure that your cork can withstand that little bit of heat that you need for the fusing process. You don't have to have your iron set to super high for fusibles to work. In fact, that is actually counter to what you want. Everybody thinks like, oh, I need a super hot iron to make the adhesive react, but you really don't. So you can be gentle with it and still get that fusible interfacing to adhere to it. Now, I can't speak to the surface of the cork and how that's going to hold up over time. Like I said, sometimes there can be like peeling and stuff. I mean, this is like a few years after you've started using the bag. So a good question to save for Jessica today when we have her on the video cast is to talk about the quality of cork, the quality of faux leather, and how do we determine which ones to buy and which ones are going to hold up over time? Great, great question for her this afternoon. So join us in that video cast. Save that question, and we will ask her when we have her live. All right, Christina recently bought some cork fabric, looking for ideas to try it. That's great. And always, always, always save all those little scraps when you have the cork fabric. That's also what I love about Sallie Tomato is she gives you very smart cutting directions so that there is very minimal waste of that faux leather, of that cork. Like I said, it's a little bit more expensive of a material. So all those little bits and pieces are great for adding things like tassels. You know, for the tassel, you need this little rectangular piece that goes inside and kind of holds your tassel to your little ring. So you need a little tiny square. So just when you think like, oh, I don't need these little scraps, this little triangle, this little whatever, after you cut out your pattern pieces, save that stuff, put it in a plastic bag, keep it in your sewing room, and then you can make little things like tassels, little things like zipper pulls, little decorative things that you can stamp or embroider or even write on, little tag that says handmade, you know, by Ellen or whatever. So keep that stuff. You can top stitch little cork accents to things. You can make a little, you know, square mosaic or something. It can be your signature thing on all the bags you create, but just don't throw that stuff away. All right. Let's see if we can answer one more question, and then I'll let you all go so we can get ready for our video cast, because we all need a little bit of a break. We need to grab a coffee or a beverage of some kind. And I do want to mention that I'm not expecting you to sew along during the video cast. It's not a sew along, right? It is going to be a class that is really just meant for you to watch and absorb, and you will always have the video in your library. So if you are not available at 2 o'clock, you can also purchase the video cast, watch it later in its entirety. There will be a question and answer block that you can ask your questions later on if you can't even watch it for 3-4 days, 3-4 months. If you want to wait until your kit comes and then you can watch the video cast, you can always ask questions after the fact. They just won't be answered live, but we still always will get back to you. At Sulky, we are very dedicated to getting you the answers that you need for any Sulky product, any sewing product really, if we have experience with it, and anything that we are giving you a tutorial on. So we want to see you have success with your sewing and quilting and crafting, and you know, we're here for you. So just know that if you can't attend live, you can always watch it later, and if you do attend live, you can also watch it as many times as you want. So when your kit comes, you might want to have a refresher, or you know, fast forward and get to a certain point while you're going through the bag, and that's just the perfect resource to have for you. Okay, Betsy says, so eager to return to real sewing expos. I know, I'm really just craving, you know, seeing all the great projects people have been created. And, you know, when we can go back to in-person, it's going to be amazing to see what everyone has been able to accomplish, what everyone has been able to finish and do and create, and all this energy being put to something really cool and creative. So I'm eager to see what people have come up with over these, you know, 9 months or so of, you know, quarantining, social distancing, all that good stuff. So, or all that stuff, I should say. All right, I think I'm caught up on most of the questions. If you have questions that I did not answer right now, feel free to email us at info@sulky.com. We will get back to you. And if you have any questions regarding the video cast, also email us, info@sulky.com. We are fast and furious trying to get everybody's questions answered regarding that, so that when we start at 12 o'clock in 1 hour, we will be ready to go. So with that, I thank you all for joining me on So What. I will see you in an hour for the Clara Bag video cast, where we will be walking through this awesome bag learning all kinds of stuff for faux leather embroidery and construction and purse hardware and all of those good things from Sallie Tomato pattern designer herself, Jessica Barrera, as well as myself. So thank you all for joining me today, and I will see you next time on So What.